Hi, I'm Reb Myron. I'm a minister through Pathways of Light, and I've been a Course in Miracles student for 40 years. I'm going through the lessons this year as I've done before, and I'm asking Jesus for clarity. And then I write from that clarity, and that's what I'm sharing with you today. So let's get started. Let's remember that our special theme for today is what is the world? And Jesus asked us to read that each day when we do our lesson, so you may want to do that today. So lesson 241. This holy instant is salvation come. What joy there is today. It is a time of special celebration, for today holds out the instant to the darkened world where its release is set. The day has come when sorrows pass away and pain is gone. The glory of salvation dawns today upon a world set free. This is a time of hope for countless millions. They will be united now as you forgive them all, for I will be forgiven by you today. 2, we have forgiven one another now, and so we come at last to you again. Father, your Son, who never left, returns to heaven and his home. How glad are we to have our sanity restored to us, and remember that we are all are one. Could we really have salvation today? Could we really release a darkened world right now? Of course we could. The world of fear and suffering is an idea in our mind, and the world of light and love is also an idea in our mind. In any single instant, we can place our awareness on the real world. All we need to do is lose interest in those things that hold us captive to our imagined world of separation. We have all shifted our awareness from one thing to another. Imagine you're in a room and your attention is on the one person who is very interesting to you. Suddenly, you notice another person and you shift your attention to that one. It's that simple. We have most of our attention on the dream world of separation. That's why it seems so real to us. We have placed our awareness there. It's interesting to us, so we are unaware of anything else. But there is another world. And now that we're studying A Course in Miracles, we're learning that there is another world in the room with us. This is a real world, the world that is our final step before we return to God. We might think of it as Eden or paradise. It is a world without our fear and guilt projected onto it. The real world is revealed to us as we release those thoughts of fear and guilt. It's like we just noticed the other room or the other one in the room. With practice, we can keep our awareness on the real world and live the happy dream until dreams are over. In this lesson, we're invited to do this. We probably won't succeed in keeping our awareness on the real world for very long. However, the more we let the Holy Spirit heal our minds, the more we will want to remain in his corrected version of our story. As Jesus has told us, nothing is difficult that is wholly desired. We are learning that we wholly desire heaven, and our practice shows us that we can have this. When my mind wanders to the ego version of life, I imagine myself turning my head away from it and toward the real world instead, just shifting my awareness. Easy peasy. Regina's tips. Our last special theme said that salvation is a promise made by God that you would find your way to him at last. It cannot but be kept. It guarantees that time will have an end, and all the thoughts that have been born in time will end as well. Today, we celebrate this promise. We also realize that we are not passive receivers of this promise. We have a role to play. Our role is forgiveness. Forgiveness is remaining focused on our unaffected self, our true self, while failing to support the ego, choosing not to uphold it with our attention and action. Since we're not supporting the ego, we need another way to live in the world. That way is surrender, seeking guidance from spiritual intuition by asking, what am I to do now? And letting it lead us in everything we think, say, and do. How glad we are to celebrate the promise of salvation today. We celebrate by joyously doing our part. We are eager to play our role in salvation. I am all in with Regina's suggestions today. I am playing my role by forgiving what we made and by reminding myself during the day and in meditation that I am as God created me. And that self remains unaffected by my imagination. I surrender as fully as I can to inner guidance, and I do so most of the time. I was thinking, as I was reading this, about something that happened yesterday, in which I saw myself judging. And it was interesting because it happened in a moment when I just had this, I noticed that I was like kind of, as I was walking away, I was kind of looking down and I had this like, and I knew what had happened in that moment, but I was very busy and I just put it aside. But later I realized that I could still feel that discomfort from having judged. And so what I did was I looked at it with the Holy Spirit. And when I say I looked at it, I just let the whole thing come back to me. The situation leading up to the judgment and the feeling I had with the judgment, how contracted and uncomfortable I was. And once I had done that, I then forgave myself. And it all fell away. It had been bothering me for such a while, and it just all fell away. That's the miracle. I was also thinking about this sentence, for I will be forgiven by you today. I used to wonder about that. How is it that we forgive Jesus? And why would we need to? But I see now that he is part of the whole. And as we forgive the whole, we also forgive him. Thank you so much for joining me in this lesson. And if you found it helpful, then please like it. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe. And thanks to all of you who have done so, and to everyone who comes to share this lesson with me daily. And I'll be back tomorrow with another lesson.